Hello everyone, welcome back to our Java tutorial series. In this video we will learn about one of the most important concepts in object-oriented programming, that is inheritance. You will understand what inheritance is, why it is used, and how it helps us writing reusable and organized code. So, what is inheritance? Inheritance is a mechanism where one class inherits the fields and methods of another class. So here it is written, inheritance allows one class to acquire the properties and methods of another class. So one class can acquire the property and method of another class. As we all know, class has two things, what? Property and methods. Okay, so imagine we have one class with property and method. Now there is another class. Okay, so that class will acquire the property and method of another class. Okay, so this process is called inheritance. So instead of writing the same code multiple times, we can reuse existing code by extending another class. Okay, I will take you one example so we'll have better clarity. So let's say we have one class shape. Okay, and here we have, let's say, some properties and methods. So this is one class, and let's say we have here, only I will define one more class, let's say rectangle. Okay, and this time I will write extends shape. Okay, now you might be thinking, what is this extra? We know, okay, shape will have properties and methods. This class shape will have properties and methods. Class rectangle will have properties and methods. Okay, what is this extend shape? So you can think like this class is parent class. What? This is parent class. Think like this. This is parent class, and class rectangle is child class. Why I am saying child class? Because rectangle class is extends from shape class. So this is parent class and this is child class. So rectangle is child class. So whenever we use this extends keyword, extends parent class, that means whatever property and behavior present in the shape class, whatever properties and behavior present in the shape class will automatically come to the rectangle class. So in the shape class we have properties and methods, right? So when we use this extends keyword, extend shape, so these property and behavior methods of shape class will be eligible for rectangle class. So inside rectangle class here, we can access these properties and methods of shape class. This is the process of inheritance. So I will give you one analogy. Think of, there is one grandfather, then father, then child. Okay, now grandfather have some behaviors. Okay, So this behavior will be inherited to father. So what father will have? Father will have the same behavior or similar behavior of the grandfather. This behavior, father will have the behavior of grandfather plus his own behavior. Correct? In real life, you see, right? Father will have same behavior of the grandfather plus some additional his own behavior. Likewise, child will have father's behavior plus his own additional behaviors. So think like this. Father has the behaviors are getting inherited. So grandfather behavior is automatically going to father. And father's behavior is automatically going to child. So behaviors are getting inherited. Grandfather behavior inherited to father. Father's behavior inherited to child. So likewise here, shape is the parent class, rectangle is the child class. Okay. So whatever the property and behavior of shape class, that will be inherited to the child, that is rectangle. So rectangle will have behavior, property and behavior of shape class, parent class, plus its own properties and behaviors, additional. Correct? Here we have seen, right? Father will have behavior of grandfather plus his own behavior. Child will also have father's behavior, but some additional his own behavior. So this additional own behavior, this rectangle class will also be having. So this process of inheriting properties and methods of parent class into the child class, automatically, if we are using extends keyword, this process is called inheritance. So if we are defining class rectangle like this, extensive, that means these properties and behavior are already inside class rectangle. We can use these two things inside rectangle. Plus, class rectangle will have its own property and behavior. Okay. So this is what? Inheritance. So in the slide it is written. Now try to understand. Inheritance allows one class, that is child class. Inheritance allows child class to acquire properties and behavior, properties and methods. Methods means what? Behavior only, no? So properties and behavior of another means parent class. Now try to read. Inheritance allows child class to acquire the properties and behavior of parent class. And also child class will have its own properties and behaviors. That will be additional, as we have seen here. So rectangle will have, rectangle is what? Child class, right? So child class will have the property and behavior of the parent class plus its own property and behavior. This is an important point. It promotes code reusability. So we will see how code is being reused. So these properties and methods, we can say, right, these properties and methods are available in both the class, in shape as well as rectangle. In shape class, why? Because it is defined. Why in rectangle class? Because rectangle is inheriting from parent class shape. So child class will automatically get the properties and methods of parent class. So rectangle will also have these properties and methods. But we are not defining these properties of shape class, methods of shape class. Inside rectangle we are not defining, right? We are not defining properties or methods of shape class because that is already inherited. We can directly use these things inside rectangle class. So code reusability is there. We are defining once in the shape class, but we are using inside rectangle class also. So code reusability. So that's what it is mentioned. It promotes code reusability. Okay, I will give you one more example. So let's say we have class parent. Okay, and it has, I will say this time, parent properties and parent methods. So this is parent class. Now class child, and child is inheriting from parent. So here we will automatically have this thing. Automatically available. Okay, we don't need to define again. Why? Because it is inheriting from parent to child. And plus we will be having child properties, child methods. So are you getting right? Child class will have properties and methods of parent class. Okay, we don't need to define it again. It is automatically available. We can directly use these methods and properties inside child class. And plus child will have its own properties and methods. Okay, so you can think like we are pulling the common data, common properties and methods into the parent classes. So this is what? Common code. So you can think another way. We have pulled the common code into the parent class, and when we are doing inheriting extends parent, so this common code we can directly use inside the child class. We don't need to define it again. So that's how we are achieving code reusability. Code reusability. Okay, and let's say you might be thinking, okay, we are getting properties and methods of parent class, and child has its own properties and methods additionally. So what if I want to change the existing property of parent and I want to use in the child class? Okay, I will repeat. So what if I want to change the property of parent class and methods and I want to use in the child class? So here we are automatically available, right? This parent properties and methods. So these available properties and methods, I want to modify it and use it in the child class. So we can override these properties and methods based on our requirement in the child class and use it. Okay. I hope you understood. So let's move. It represents is a relationship. Is a relationship. What is a relationship? Let's see. So we have class, shape. We have some properties. We have some behaviors inside class shape. Now we have class rectangle extends shape. So this shape class properties and behavior is automatically available here. We don't need to write that lines of code again. Okay, that is automatically available. We can directly use. Okay, and plus what we have extra in the class rectangle class properties and behaviors. Rectangle will have its own property and behavior, right? So this is additional. So it shows is a relationship. Okay, so we can say like, how we can say is a relationship. I will show here. So rectangle has property and behavior of shape plus additional properties and behavior, correct? So I will write here rectangle has properties and behaviors of parent class, that is shape class, plus additional its own properties and behaviors. So by this we can say rectangle is a shape. Why? Because rectangle, so whatever code is present inside shape, that is already available in the rectangle and plus some additional thing. So we can say rectangle is a shape. That's why we call it as is a relationship. Inheritance is what? Inheritance is a relationship. Okay, that's what it is mentioned here. It represents is a relationship. Let's move. Now, why do we need inheritance? Why are we learning this concept? Why do we need inheritance? So let's first see what are the problems without inheritance. If we don't use the concept of inheritance, then duplicate code will be there. How duplicate code will be there? I will show you. How duplicate code? Let's say without inheritance, I am showing you class shape. Then I will write shape properties, shape behaviors. Now we have class rectangle now I'm not using extends because I'm showing example without inheritance. Now inside rectangle, I will again write shape properties because need I need this property and behavior inside rectangle class. This is my requirement. Shape property, shape behaviors, and plus additional rectangle properties and rectangle behaviors. That means its own properties and behaviors. So without inheritance, we are writing this piece of code again in the rectangle class. So this is code redundancy is there if we are not using the concept of inheritance. That's what it is mentioned. Duplicate code, difficult maintenance, less reusable code. And what are the benefits of inheritance? Code reusability. What we will do if we use inheritance? We will not define here. This thing will not be available. Only we need to add one line, extends shape. That's it. So this code will automatically available to rectangle. We don't need to define it again inside rectangle class. Only thing we'll define additional things. So code reusability. Okay, that's what it is mentioned. Code reusability. Easier maintenance. With the inheritance, we can see which class is parent, which class is child. So we can maintain very easily. Better organization and extensibility. Even if we want in the when the application grows, we increase the number of classes. So relation between those classes will be very much clear with the concept of inheritance. Okay, so without inheritance, we would need to write the same code in multiple classes. Just now we have seen. So this will increase what? Duplication. And maintenance will be difficult. What is the solution? Inheritance is the solution. So inheritance solves this problem. How? By allowing child classes to reuse the code of parent class. We don't need to define those code again in the child class. We can directly access the code present in the parent class. All properties and behaviors are available in the child class. Okay. Now we use different terminology actually. Okay. So somewhere we will use parent class, child class. Somewhere we'll use superclass, subclass. The meaning is same. Okay. So what it is written here, the class whose members are inherited. So we should be able to identify which class is parent, which class is child. How do we identify? So the class whose members are inherited. Members means what? Properties and behaviors. So the class whose properties and behaviors are inherited. Okay. So inherited means what? This property and behavior will go to another class. That's why we are saying this is parent class. Now, what is child class or subclass? The class that inherits from the parent class. Okay, whenever we use child class extends and we give the parent class name. So whatever properties and behavior present in the parent class, that will come to the child class or subclass. So the existing class is called the parent class or superclass, and the new class that inherits properties and behaviors from parent class is called the child class or subclass. So the child class automatically gets access to the accessible members of the parent class. Okay. Now we will see the syntax. So what is the syntax of inheritance? How do we execute inheritance? So let's say we have one class parent. In the parent we have properties and behaviors. Behaviors in method, properties means field. Okay. Different words we are using, but the meanings are same. Okay. Now class child extends parent. That means whatever properties and behavior that is defined inside parent, these properties and behaviors of parent class will automatically come to the child class. Come means what? From child class we can access these properties and behavior. We don't need to redefine these things inside child class. Directly we can use. Plus on the top of this, so child class is having this properties and behavior of parent class, plus means including this property behavior, it has additional fields and methods, additional properties and behaviors of its own child class. We have seen in the examples, right? So inheritance is implemented using extends keyword. You can see here extends keyword. We are using extends keyword between child and parent class. So the child class extends the parent class and it inherits its members. So one thing we need to keep in mind, I am saying properties and behaviors of parent class will be available in the child class. So child class can access properties and behavior of parent class. Okay, but my question is, can child class access all properties and behavior of parent class? Can child class access all properties and behavior of parent class? So the answer is it depends on the access modifier. We have seen, right? Access modifier. What are those? Public, protected, private, and default. So these four are access modifier. So what we are using, what access modifier we are using before properties, before behavior, will tell that whether the child can access those property and behavior or not. If it is private, that means it is accessible within the class. So child class cannot access those properties and behavior which is defined with private. And if it is public, whatever properties and behavior defined as public, those property and behavior can be accessed within the child class. Default, if both the parent and child class are in the same package and the properties and behavior has no access modifier, that is by default, then those properties and behavior can be accessed in the child class. And for protected, let's say before properties they have used the access modifier protected and before behavior protected. So for those properties and behaviors, those protected properties and protected behaviors, it will behave as default within the same package. That means if child class is in the same package of the parent, child class can access all protected members of properties and behavior of parent class. But let's say child class is outside the package, then also it can access property and behavior. Meaning if it is child class, then it can access the properties and behavior from everywhere, no matter which package. Okay, if it is using protected access modifier. So protected is mostly used in inheritance. Okay, if we are using we are using protected access modifier in properties and behavior, that means all child class, no matter where it is present, all child class can access all properties and behavior which is defined protected. Okay. Now let's see one real life example. So let's say we have one class animal. Okay, and in this we have two behaviors or method, eat and sleep. Now we have one more class, dog, and this is what inheriting from animal class. Animal class is what? Parent. And what it has? Bark. So dog is child class, animal is parent class. So whatever properties and behaviors defined inside parent class, that is animal, will automatically be available inside child class. So we don't need to redefine here. That means this code is automatically accessible here. Automatically accessible. We can access this eat and sleep method inside dog class. Why? Because it is coming from parent class. Dog is inherited from animal class. So these methods automatically accessible inside dog class. Plus dog will have its own properties and behaviors. So dog is having own behavior. So bark method. Okay. So see how the code has been reused. Eat and sleep method. We are not redefining here. We have defined only once in the parent class. And we are utilizing these methods inside the child class. So code reusability, proper structure. Okay. So child class will have two things. One, whatever property behavior it is getting from parent class, plus additionally its own properties and behavior. Okay. Now we will see the advantages of inheritance. Inheritance provides several advantages. What? It reduces duplicate code. Code reusability we have seen just now. And it reduces duplicate code. We are not redefining the property and behavior of parent class inside the child class. That is automatically accessible. So duplicate code is reduced. Easier maintenance. It supports method overriding. So in the previous one example I have explained this, how it supports method overriding. So let's say we have one class, okay, parent. Now it have some method. Properties and behavior. You can say anything, okay? Meaning is same. Now there is one more class, child, which is inherited from parent class. Okay. Now, and child will have its own properties and behaviors. Add on additionally, okay. And this method, let's say we have one method xyz inside parent class. Or maybe it can be method, it can be property also. Property. How it can be property? Let's say int x equals to 10. So this int x equal to 10 and xyz property and behavior, this will be automatically available in the child class. But the requirement in the child class is that it want to use xyz method as it is, but it want to utilize the x variable, but the starting value should be 20 instead of 10. That means it wants to modify it. So in that case, it can be override into 20. So for that, child class need to redefine the int x equals to 20. So whatever property and behavior child class wants, that should be modified. Child class don't want to use the existing methods, existing properties of behavior of parent class. It want to do some, child class wants to do some modification, and after that child class will use. So in that case, what child class will do? It will override the existing property and behavior into the child class. So child class will override only those properties and behaviors of parent class, those which needs to be modified. And if child class wants to use existing methods as it is, then we don't need to redefine here. Only updated values will be defining here. That is overriding. We are overriding the value, that value or method which are existing in the parent class. Okay, so that is supports method overriding. Improves code organization. We have seen using extends keyword, we are organizing the code class hierarchy. So parent class is inheriting the child class. So what are the important points to remember? Okay, Java supports single inheritance for classes. Okay, multiple inheritance is not supported with classes. Okay, what is single inheritance? We are mentioning here single inheritance means single inheritance. Okay, single inheritance means there will be one parent class and one child class. So one child class will be inherited from one parent class. So this is single inheritance. What is multiple inheritance? Multiple inheritance. Multiple parent class 1, parent class 2. Okay, I will take only 2 parent class in this example, and from 2 parent class, one child class will be inherited. So this is what multiple inheritance. Multiple parents means multiple inheritance. Single parent means single inheritance. How do we write in the code wise? So class child extends from parent, and here we will write. Okay, so this is the syntax of single inheritance. Now how will we write for multiple inheritance? Class child extends what? Parent 1, comma parent 2, and we will write lines of code in this. So these are the syntax of single inheritance and multiple inheritance. Okay, but the problem is with multiple inheritance. So multiple inheritance is not supported. Okay, so here we have mentioned. Now try to read. Java supports single inheritance for classes, and in the second line what it is written? Multiple inheritance is not supported with the classes. Not supported. Multiple inheritance not supported. Why not supported? So child class is inherited from parent class 1 and parent class 2. Okay, I hope you understood what is single inheritance, what is multiple inheritance. Single inheritance means it is inherited from single parent. Multiple inheritance means it is inherited from multiple parents. Okay, now I will explain why multiple inheritance is not supported in Java. Okay, I will remove these things. So we are seeing why multiple inheritance is not supported in Java. Okay, multiple inheritance means what? Two parents will be there. Parent 1, parent 2, and from both parent, one child class will be there. So this is what multiple inheritance. Okay. Now, how do we write code wise? Class child extends parent 1 comma parent 2. So this is parent 1 class, this is parent 2 class, and this is child class. So whatever properties and behavior of parent 1 and parent 2 will be available in the child class. So let's say we are having one common method present in both parent 1 and parent 2. Let's say parent 1, okay, class parent 1 has xyz method which is printing hello. That's it. So parent 1 has method xyz which is printing hello. And let's say we have one more class parent 2, right? So class parent 2 which is also having xyz method, and it is printing welcome. So we have two classes, both classes have same method xyz, but the implementation is different. Parent 1 is printing hello, parent 2 is printing welcome. Now from both parent, child is getting inherited. So child will have what? Child will have properties and behaviors from parent 1 plus properties and behaviors from parent 2 plus its own properties and behaviors. That is child property and behavior. So in this example, behavior means what? Method. So parent 1 has method xyz. Here xyz. Parent 2 has method xyz. So child class have xyz method from parent 1, xyz method from parent 2. Correct? Now, if child class is trying to call xyz method inside child class, then tell me which method will get called, parent 1 or parent 2 method. Since child class have both methods, right, of parent 1 and parent 2. Now compiler will get confused since the implementation is different for both the methods. Compiler will get confused which method to call. Both have different implementation, so it will throw some error. Okay, so that is the reason multiple inheritance is not supported in Java. Okay, through classes. Multiple inheritance is not supported in Java through classes. We are studying about classes, right? Parent 1 is class, parent 2 is class, child is class. But I will show you in the later videos, multiple inheritance is supported in Java with the concept of interface. So when we will understand the interface, I will tell you how we can achieve multiple inheritance in Java using interface. So we have seen multiple inheritance is not supported in Java through classes. Why? Because compiler is getting confused between these two methods xyz because implementation for parent 1 is different and implementation for parent 2 is different for the same method. So compiler is get confused which method to call for child classes. Okay, let's move on. A class can inherit only one class using extends keyword, that is single inheritance. We have seen just now. Multiple inheritance can be achieved using interfaces. Okay, interfaces. So let's quickly summarize what we have learned so far. Inheritance allows one class to inherit it from another class. Okay. And it uses the extends keyword we have seen in the examples. It promotes code reusability we have seen. Is a relationship. We have seen in the example how rectangle is a shape. Why we are saying rectangle is a shape? Because whatever properties and behavior shape class is having, that same property and behavior is automatically coming into the rectangle class. How? Because it is inheriting from shape parent class. So we can say rectangle is a shape. That's why we are saying is a relationship. So rectangle has a property and behavior of shape class plus its own properties and behaviors. So that's why we are able to say rectangle is a shape plus some additional its own properties and behaviors. So inheritance represent is a relationship. Okay. Now parent class, child class. This is what inheritance. Okay. Parent class is shape, child class is rectangle. Okay, that's all for this video. I hope this tutorial helped you understand the important concept of inheritance in Java. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next video.